Hello, and welcome to our weekly astrology transit update. So today is February 4th, 2025, and I wanted to set this for this really, really interesting pattern that we have right now. And the moon is what's kind of kicking it all off. But if you can see everything here in red, just look, let your eyes look at that for a moment. I'll talk about Mars over here doing this other in a moment. But this is one of these really interesting patterns. It's kite-like, but it's not quite the same angles, but it's similar. But what I want you to notice is the geometry is very interesting, which I'll explain, but it's all focusing down on the south node. You know, the nodes just recently changed from cardinal signs into mutable signs, and the south node is in Virgo right now. The south node is where we release, um, where we're comfortable. We're used to doing those things. We often have talents in that area, but we're often asked to release a lot more from there than we Westerners do. And, we tend to embrace our north node. And see, the north node just moved from Aries, and they move backward through the signs from the end of Aries, and now um, it traveled backward through there, and then now it's like coming into the last part of, it was in the end of Aries going backwards. So now, how do I say it? It anyway, it traveled all the way through Aries to the 0 point, and then now it's backed up into Pisces. So there's that opposition. But it's also picking up on the opposition here to Neptune, the illusory planet, um, imagination, dream, um, fantasy, unreality. So maybe getting rid of a lot of the disillusions. This is what's happening right now. I think a lot of the things that have been going on in the world, people have been hypnotized and fooled and schmoozed and lulled to sleep. And this is now becoming very apparent. It is just like in your face reality. Um, but what an interesting way for it to be, with that Neptune is, in its according to more modernists, in its own sign and it's where its rulership, where it tends to indulge and go over the top. So this is like things, lies, the depths of lies are starting to become exposed as it's getting, lined up with the North Node before it moves into Aries, a new sign, a new cycle. So we have Neptune opposing that South Node. So there's where I think a lot of beliefs, a lot of old um, paradigms are being shattered. And then uncomfortably or comfortably on either side is two very interesting aspects. This is a square and a half, and then we have the half of squares. So this is very balanced shape. So let me get into the square and a half. A square and a half is a whole square, which is 90 degrees, plus a half a square, 45. So that angle becomes 135, more or less. So we're seeing that it's getting more into that, especially the moon. In a few hours, it'll be exact. I'm recording this at like 5:15-ish, 5 o'clock on February 4th. So on the other side to the south node, so anyway, moon, the south node, and this is what's clicking into place and getting stronger. But what is already in is the south node to Mercury and the sun. So the sun is kind of now it's exact, and then Mercury is coming into it. So you can just imagine here, what if this were instead of 29, it were 0? So we would go those signs. So we have 30, all the way through the side, 30, 60, 90. Um, and then we get, because it's, this is like almost a square, so it'd be almost the next sign of Libra, right? So if we just pretended it was, then we can just do the math. So there's 30 degrees all the way to Libra, another 30 degrees all the way through Scorpio, 30 degrees here, and then to Capricorn, and then over to Aquarius. So we have 30, 60, 90 degrees. And then we have this, I'm sorry, 30, 60, 90, and 120. And then we have that extra 12 it's like 13. If we go to, if we say that's 0, and if we go to Mercury, so that would be just shy of it. So Mercury's coming into it, and the sun, is that one extra degree. Pretend it was 15, and that would be exactly 135. So I hope that made sense. So it's like 30 degrees, 30, 60, 90, 120, and then up to Aquarius. That's like, where we would go with the extra 120. So an extra 10 would be 130, and then increments there. So the sun just is perfect there today. Mercury's coming into that spot. And then we have both of those over to Neptune. And this is the half a square. This is if the squared is 90, this is the 45. So we could go, halfway here from one sign, Aquarius, and then we go to halfway to the other sign, which would be Pisces right next to it, and that's 30 degrees. And then we would go so many, here like another 15 degrees over to this 28, 29. Hope that makes sense. Real quick math in your head if you don't have, a computer or something. But that's how those angles are there. And it's interesting. I don't go henpecking for all these minor angles, but when something shows up that is this perfect, this is a very interesting thing. So what's happening? What does all of this mean? So we have, squares are intense enough. So squares and halves of squares are very intense as well. This is irritating. This is making, I think this is showing some hard reality. I think this is making people react, have to look for information, have to question what they've been told, question the narrative of what they've been told, things that they've just blindly accepted, automatically accepted, because this is all hard stuff. South Node, Mercury, information, in Aquarius, masses, for the people, for the good of the people. Maybe, like straightening something out is not comfortable. Being put on a budget is not comfortable. And then near the sun, vitality, that's huge. And then Pluto close by, it's in the same sign. So it's there overlording, so to speak, that energy. Going over to Neptune, breaking that, shedding light, sun, Mercury information on disillusionment. It's uncomfortable truths, uncomfortable things. A lot of the things that we're having to face is a world right now. A lot of the misconception, a lot of the lies, a lot of the money that has been laundered, stolen, a lot of the pedophilia, a lot of the rings, a lot of the corruption that goes deep both ways is all starting to be exposed. And here today, the moon is now shining its light, which, reflecting the light of the sun. And these are, well, we'll get over there a second. So it is half squaring over to Neptune. So it is also uncomfortable. It's a feeling, uncomfortable feeling. Don't like that. Not what I'm used to. Um, Again, the regurgitated mainstream media, just puking out, just regurgitating this mockingbird stories. That's just sickening. There's so much media going into the alternative media. That is the new media. But it's still, a lot of battle, a lot of things are still out in the aura of things. So back down here, going all the way back down to the south node, moon connecting with the south node, that feeling goes deep. We have to look at things honestly. We have to gather the information and as humanity make a higher change. And this is even though it's uncomfortable, it's a beautiful pattern. It's still a lovely flow, and it's kind of a nice flow on some levels. You can see the feminine, Neptune over to the moon, influence here. But we also have, the moon moving into a hard square with the sun and Mercury. So here again, it's like not accepting maybe, or having a hard time accepting a lot of the issues and a lot of things that come out. Sometimes things come out so much so fast it spins the head if you haven't been paying attention. If you haven't been hearing a lot of this, if you haven't been studying, going down and listening and doing your homework, then it's going to be a real head spinner, a real whirlwind. And this pattern, again, is like that because it's drilling down to this point. But if you're in flow of this, it's still a lovely pattern. It's balanced. It's very geometric. And as the moon clicks in, that is going to be just an interesting ride. Before this is all over, the moon will come over and make a wide, conjunct, or it'll conjunct Uranus, making a wide part of this pattern, which can then throw in something out of the blue, something sudden, something a financial shift, a financial change, a financial false flag, a financial meltdown, a financial ringer. I don't know, something like that. I'm seeing that because of the Taurian energy, and then the moon coming on over that, and how unstable a lot of that is out there. Also, let's move on. I just had to set that because this is going away. This is like, I mean, a lot of this will be still in place. Like the opposition here with the South Node and Neptune won't be going away. It'll be in place like all month. And the Mercury and the Sun will, of course, move out of that pattern. The moon here will move out, but it will still be kind of in flux. All right, moving over to Mars, and this is very interesting now. We have Mars, a quincunx over to the Sun and Mercury, more uncomfortableness. Mars is like, defending. It's like defending truth, its homeland. It's defending, out of its shell, its territory, its beliefs, its values, and it's in a it can't quite comprehend it, that information that's coming from almost the sun conjunct Mercury, Mercury conjunct the sun when it's cazimi, they're almost exact in like a day and a half or 2 days, they'll be there. And it's, Mars isn't changing too fast there. So this will be burning in that in conjunct. This is like, I'm sorry, this is how it's going to be. This is the new, because we're coming from this egalitarian I'm doing this for the good of you. I'm sacrificing and shining this for the best of all, Aquarian energy. And this is what's kind of ringing now overall. But this is like, I think one of our first real uncomfortable things that we've been seeing some, but that that is coming in. And then Mars has the upper hand because it has got the blessings from Saturn. Wow, you go ping pong, ping, ping, ping pong, ping pong, pong. Saturn has got the upper hand here in dissolving Pisces, which then is back to Neptune. So we can see, this whole dynamic being set up. It's very, very interesting. Just this whole thing alone is phenomenal. I'm just I'm just amazed. All right, so that's today. And on a little bit more mundane side, we have the moon in earthy Taurus, in sensual Taurus, in stable, want to be secure, want to have my chocolate with my pecans in it. I want my, whatever it is, your comforts, your comfort food. I want my fluffy pillow. I want my this, I want my binky. But no, it's having that little bit more solid, comfort, rooted, knowingness. I love the Taurus moon. I think I love them all, but I really enjoy this exalted place for the moon. It's just to me lovely, very lovely. But then we have when it comes over toward, Uranus later, just that alone every month is interesting. But then as it's part of kind of this extended pattern here, this kite pattern, this strange kite pattern, um, it's uh, it's really focusing this energy on the south node. Things like that. Again, it's an imaginary places in space, but we still have that energy. So, phew, that was a lot. Okay, that being said, that is the biggest part of this week, but we can still see here now the south node. Uh, well, we've just got a lot of other things coming in. What else did I want to tell you about here? Um, I am going to, let's see if I want to do that. Tomorrow, let's see, it's more a lot of moon aspects. Let me get these off of here. Um, that was the big one. I don't want to confuse you with all that because that was a lot there, and I'd rather just slow it down and just kind of get the gist of the week because it's really hard to hang on to all that. So that was the big part of this week, I think, coming into a lot of that. But then we also just had Venus move into Aries a couple days ago. That's going to be very interesting because it was loving to be it was exalted in Pisces, but it was kind of interrupted, and had to deal with Saturn and to do with Neptune and to do with the North Node. It was like, God, I want to be in this house by myself. I'm busy, but anyway, in Aries, it's more aggressive, um, upbeat, energetic, maybe being a go-getter, not just lazing out, because it was in its exaltation. And then this is the little space between, then it goes into its own sign. So this is where it gets squeezed again a little bit, but we're going to have its retrograde. So it's going to be a little bit longer here than normal. So Venus is going to be, a little bit of more of a go-getter here. But anyway, of course, then it will be making aspects over to Mars, the square aspects. So that is also tense. So as Venus, moves on, Mars slows down, they'll get close. And we can, look at the ephemeris and see all that. But I digress. We go in so many different directions in astrology. It's really fun to just see that. But anyway, we have the moon going over. You can see it just kind of went over like later Wednesday, Uranus. Um, and that's pretty much the big thing. Later that day, it's going to move into Gemini, the moon. On Thursday, we could see moons into Gemini, and then it's going to go over Jupiter, which is always interesting. We get, the swelling, large things, putting a lot of emphasis on dual, on two, on being busy. So this is very energetic when the moon goes, out of its exaltation into busy Gemini. Um, it's more of a think, a feel think, it goes to feel because it's what it is naturally, but it has to think. So it feel thinks where that's kind of an interesting flow. I think it goes out, it feels it, and then being the moon, and then flows out with the think of all the Gemini, all the busyness, all the double, all the communications, all the small communications, all the short ones. Um, but then it's also on a large scale. So more of the stuff could be coming. The volume could be turned up on a lot of things happening. Um, Anything else on that? We can see Mercury closing in still on the sun. Friday, is it Friday? Take a Thursday. Yeah, Thursday we still have that, that Mars trining over to Saturn. It's still there. Look, it's perfect on Thursday, 18, 18. You're not moving that fast. So it's very strong. And then it's still a quincunx Mars over to the sun and Mercury. So uncomfortableness, but yet Saturn is in control. I am dissolving all of this crap. I am dissolving this stuff. Water sign, Mars being there, retrograde, going back over, going through finances, going through books, going through bookkeeping, going through the waters of misconception, because we still have Neptune close by, but Saturn is ruling. Mars and Saturn are doing a lot of this editing, so to speak, this rooting out work here. So that's going to be in place for a bit. Just kind of, you can just keep glancing over that. It's not moving too fast. Look at Friday there again. Um, Friday, what else we got going on? Moon is still finishing up in Gemini. Um, oh, Friday we have again the sun and Mercury, Mars. We talked about that all day. But then we also have Venus in the early part of Aries, doing a nice little sextile over to Pluto. How interesting. This dovetails in with the kind of the same energy of Mars and Saturn in a good conversation. The malefics are kind of like softening or giving, it's like relenting, checkmate, caught, sort of energy. So Venus, it's got that Aries aggressive, like, hey, it's like I gotcha. All right. This was a word game. And I won. This is I have the more facts. I'm here. I'm present. I'm not lazing out. I can bring it, over to Pluto. You know, in this Aquarian, idealistic, egalitarian, good for everybody. So Venus has got the energy there, and they're like, okay, this is a real nice conversation. And then again, Saturn and Mars, these two malefics, dissolving all of this crap. Very nice energy. Very interesting times. I mean, it's astrologically, at least that's how I see it. All right, moving on into Saturday. Moon is moving in now into its own home sign of Cancer. Loves to be there. So this can be quite emotional now. This could be, we could quite see the emotions coming up, especially as the moon gets closer to Mars. It could be, adding, it could be instigating kind of energy, or it could just be really upwelling of truth from within, of seeing the truth and reacting to it, of going, oh my God, I can't believe it. I can't believe the corruption. I can't believe it. It's like I can't believe perp are finally being rooted out. I can't believe we're finally, pulling the roots of corruption out of a beautiful country. I can't believe it's happening worldwide. I can't believe I'm seeing evil people um, um, not be in power anymore. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I think this is going to be a beginning of this. Anytime we have the Cancer moon, it it is very intense, and a lot of feelings are triggered, and things that are going on, things that are up, are causing upset. Or if you're not on board, if you haven't been doing your homework, you'll just be really upset. Um, and that's the first phase of healing, of seeing the truth, of seeing more sides. Not saying it's all true, but it's seeing more sides, seeing things you're not used to. All right, Saturday. So it might be a bit of a modeling weekend. It's not a real good day to initiate things Saturday. Kind of less lucky because of this. It's just maybe good to do the in-breath, watch, and then look at sun or Mercury is right up the sun's butt. I mean, it's just right there, egalitarian city, egalitarian sandwich. I'm doing this for the good of all. And then Saturn again is getting blessed with, the energy from Mars. Um, and then the moon's going to go over that, and that might be another kicker. Let's see when that is. Let's just see if it's, yeah, look, it's going to be late Sunday. See the moon? It's like, we go back a couple hours. I got 2 in the afternoon, just East Coast time, just to just show you real quick. Right over there. So yeah, it could be coming in Sunday. Some of that, we've got the Cassini, right in the heart of the sun, Mercury, right there. They are one, unified, and then Moon with Mars. Wow. And that's just, that's an inconjunct angle. This is like both of those, and look at within 3 degrees, but that's when it's perfect like this, and then Saturn making it, a trine over to this. Wow, this is good. This is a really powerful day. Again, we start the week here Tuesday into this, and then we kind of build. We have a lot of these energies, and then we build up to this, I think, later in the week. I mean, Sunday, Saturday night into Sunday. This is pretty intense. Wow. I'm just kind of, it's like, and then again we still have Venus is still right there with Pluto. Then we can even talk about the Chiron stuff, all that wounded stuff, all those things being dragged open again, Moon, Mars, wounding, opening this stuff up. I was lied to, I was scammed, I was, blah, blah, blah. People turning on each other. This could be really, really ugly, but it's got, a sense of healing in it. That scalpel of Aries, um, you got to dig out the pus and gangrene before you can close up the wound and have it heal. I'm sorry. That's kind of like what this energy is all about on this level, one of them. But wow, how intense, how interesting, how refreshing. Okay, Monday, coming into, all of that, we come into a Leo moon. So it's like, oh, I think this will be a bit of a fresh air, or it could be very lively. It could be now you're really charged up. Now you're juiced. Maybe you're just like you're really um, brought through the ringer, and now that moon energy is, is into like um, dramatizing, let's put it that way, into being, dramatizing. And then the moon, as it goes through Leo, it will square over to um, Uranus. It gets late in that sign note, but you can see it's going to be opposing Pluto, which will be very interesting. So it's going to butt right up against Mr. Pluto, and then it will oppose the Sun and Mercury, and then square over to Mercury. I mean, Uranus. So, we'll be making a T-square later, probably on Tuesday when we come back sometime. Yeah, probably be right around that day. Yeah, you can see later. Um, oh, don't want to go that far. Well, let me see. No, it's just a little bit more. It's kind of like early Wednesday. See, I got it for two, so you can see it'll be like back here. But anyway, we'll get to that next week. Um, Before we go, I want to get a different share. So anyway, we've got an intense week. Anything else? Yeah, so we already talked about those things. Okay, so I want to just get one more share. I want to look at some things kind of coming up. Um, Yeah, this is this week, but we got to keep in mind the next few months, basically. So um, we have on the 5th of this month, so we just had Venus move, change signs. Um, Jupiter is going to go direct on the 5th. What is that? Wednesday. I forgot to mention that. So Jupiter will be direct. So Jupiter will start to move. And you can see here on February, look, it's like anything in red is retrograde, anything in black is forward. So it's like at 11, 11, 11, 11. It's been here. It's like I go back. I don't want to, belabor it, but it's been at 11. We know for a while. And look, it goes direct here on the 5th. You can just go all the way over the day right there, the 5th. And then you can see it's black here, and it's it's moving forward. So look at that. It's like all here at 11, 11, 11, 11. If we go back a month, last month, it was, 13, 12, and then like mid-month, like right in the 15th, it was like 11, 11, 11. Look how long it is. Over a month, 15. Look, it's like to the 25th of this month that it was at that 1 degree. So if you have anything, from maybe 8 degrees to like 14 degrees, in Gemini or square or opposite or trine. I mean, it's good to know, but it's good to know that the yucky angles to know if something's been hitting on you. So if you got some immutable signs, that could be interesting one way or another. All right. This month we have Mars. See, look, it's retrograde. It's going back, right? It was, 19, 18, 17, 17, 17, 17. Okay, right on the 25th, it goes direct at 17 degrees Cancer. So it's slowing down. It's pretty strong, pretty powerful. That's what I was thinking. Mars, very powerful there. It's not moving very fast. And neither is Saturn. Saturn is just starting to pick up speed, but it's still pretty solid. Let's go back one more month. See, Saturn is like, it's starting to pick up 14, 15, 16, so 17. It was not real fast, but it's like a degree almost every week. So anyway, Mars is pretty strong. It's pretty solid. They're holding it, holding that position, holding its stance, warrior. Okay, we talk about those two. Those two. Venus, you can see that it's still clipping along, and then Aries, it goes Aries, 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 Aries. What else this month? Anything? No. Okay, so these are all direct out here. See, these are all going direct. Everything out here is all direct. Now let's go to March. Then we have Venus goes retrograde up here. I think it's on the March 1st. I'm sorry. Yeah, March 1st. Yeah, because then it should be right here, but it's on the day. So anyway, here, and then you can see it's 10, 10, 10, and then it's going back. So we go up to 10 degrees. Venus is in Aries. And then it goes back into Pisces, but then it'll go back all the way through Aries. So this is going to be in this Aries energy for a while. Okay, just wanted to give you a heads up. all of February, almost all of March. Let's just go ahead just because we're looking at Venus at the moment. Half, okay, then we go back into, oh, look at this, all of April, it's back into Pisces. Even though it turns direct on the 13th, it's still going to take the rest of the month to get out, so it gets exalted again for its efforts. And then beginning of May, it's back in Aries, and then here we've got all of May and the first week of June, and then it moves into its own sign. All right, so we got that. Let's just go back to this month. Okay, so we got a lot of movement with Venus, what we want, how we want it, our money, our love interests. Um, that's all going to be, kind of going from dream to reality to the back to the niceties of it. This is very good, I think a good time for for this energy, but make sure that you don't buy anything with Venus retrograde. Don't make the purchase when it's retrograde, make it when it's direct. Okay, quickly. Um, we already said that Mars is going to go direct on the end of the month. You can see here it's slowing down. Here it's going to be 17 again. And then we have Jupiter. We said on the 5th, goes direct. And these are all direct. Now let's just go. Okay, we already here. Right? So we went to Mars, and then we said Venus. We already got into that. Mars is still. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about Mercury. Mercury goes retrograde in Aries. Kind of does a little similar thing. It's in the beginning of the month. It goes into Aries, so it gets more aggressive. It gets more cutting, sharp, to the point, focused information, new information, things just coming out at lightning speed, coming in March once Mercury goes, into Aries, then it'll retrograde into Aries, and then it goes back into Pisces again, just like Venus. Look, it goes to 20, yeah, 20, 27, 26. Okay, 26, and then it goes back the other way. So then it goes back into Aries all April, when Venus is in Pisces. So then we got this back in Aries, so we don't get a reprieve. So again, look at Venus was, that was its month that it went back to be in Pisces exalted, but Mercury is now, it gets out of the fog, of Pisces, and then it gets back into poignant Aries. And then let's see when it's, yeah, and then it starts picking up speed and won't be in its home sign till almost the end of May when it goes into Gemini. All right, let's go back one more time. Okay, we already said that. Oh, you know what else is interesting? Couple things this year. We have changing signs. We have Uranus changing signs. Um, at the end of the month over here, you can see at the end of March, we have Neptune. Look at finally changing signs into Aries. Okay, that'll be changing signs. Okay, so we have outer planet change signs. We already had Pluto, then we'll have Neptune. And then if we'll go ahead another month, those two are still there. I want to look out here. We've got not yet, almost June, I think. Yeah, June we have Jupiter, it does every year. It changes signs, so it's going from its detriment, or is it its fall, into its exaltation. It loves to be in Cancer. I'm just looking at something here. Yeah, it's his detriment. So that's what I thought. Um, so anyway, it moves into Cancer, which is very interesting. We'll talk about that another time, but I just want to point out when some of these are. So here we have middle of June or first week of June, big Jupiter changing. And then we also have, let's see, Uranus is almost ready to change in the July. Yeah, in the very beginning of July, Uranus changes signs into Gemini. So we've got a very dynamic, look, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, and Saturn too. I forgot Saturn. The month before, Saturn have changed signs. So we'll have them all. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, the inner ones go all the time, but all by July, we'll have a whole different world. We had Pluto, but look at we're gonna have Neptune, Uranus is changing signs. Saturn has already just changed signs. When did it go? Um, in May. Yeah, at the end of May. Okay. So Saturn will change signs, and then Jupiter changes signs. And then Mars will be in a different sign too. It'll be back into Leo, and in mid-month it'll be in Virgo. Wow. Okay, then Venus will be over in Taurus. And of course, Mercury will be in a different sign. So we're going to have a whole, look at by spring, we're going to have like a whole different world. Look at this. All of the planets, I mean, the ones closest to the sun always move, but we're just throwing it in mixed. All of it will be a different flavor. So hold on to your seats, journal, write things down because we're going to have a lot of fast changes. Make some notes of things. We're going to have a few retrogrades. Of course, we get retrograde season. Things will move back, but things are going to be moving very, very quickly. And we are coming into a whole new ball game, a whole new world. All right, with that said, I am going to go. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I do, and we'll talk again next week. Bye for now.